switched off.
And then it'll say
If
live.
they are, there's no receipts.
Yes. Well, okay. Ring me back if you have any trouble. I was trying to get it on our end too.
Right. So, are we ready? Good evening, it's Peter Sidwell here and welcome to our live kitchen. This is Masterclass Junior. Or Junior Masterclass, depending on which way around you want to do it. We're here with my little one here and we're going to cook Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays here live on Facebook in my working kitchen. We're going to cook food that I think will really engage, the kids in the kitchen, which is so important during lockdown, breaking up the day, creating some new skills, new dishes, new recipes, and have a bit of fun, won't we? So today, hopefully you will already know what we're going to be cooking. So I wanted to create a really beautiful pesto dish. Now, pesto's this one's absolute favourite. She loves it. And I wanted to create some little meatballs with it as well and cook some delicious pasta. Let's start with something that we know will be a big hit. Now, I've got Emily in the kitchen. She's controlling cameras and she's keeping an eye on the Facebook page. So if you have any questions, let me know and Emily will shout them to me or sort of mouth them or wave, or she'll do something to attract my attention. And we're going to cook the dinner in real time, so you can either do it with me or you can watch it back later on. If you've bought the ingredients, you want to do it at your own pace, that's absolutely fine. If you want to watch this on YouTube, go to Peter Sidwell Media channel, and at the moment it's going to be on there. But Masterclass is going to have its own YouTube channel really soon. So every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it'll go out onto Facebook. It'll go onto YouTube as well. So please go to the Masterclass Kitchen Craft. Sorry, go to the Masterclass YouTube channel, click subscribe, notification, hit the bell button, and you will be notified when we're going to go live, so you don't miss any. Or if you do miss it, you can always easily find it whenever you want to. So first of all, we are going to make our meatballs. Okay, so I have got a mixing bowl here. I've got some water, which I'll show you why we've got some water soon, because when I've got some little tips and tricks. Okay, so what I'd like you to do, I've got tipless knives. Whoa! That's not a good start, is it? Move the ball. Okay, I've got some tipless knives here, okay? So, much safer to use. I've got sweet potatoes, okay? So we like these, don't we?
Yeah.
So all we're gonna do is, these are baked, really simple. All you do is cut them open. They're baked and squidgy. I've baked these at 160 degrees for probably about 30 minutes until they're soft. They cook much quicker than normal potatoes. So we're going to cut those out. Can you grab a spoon out of there?
A normal.
Yeah, just a normal spoon. And I want you to scoop the potatoes out and pop them into there. Okay? Now, I've got some chicken mince here. You could also use turkey mince if you wanted to. If you prefer to use pork, that's absolutely fine, or beef. It will work all the same, okay? But we're using chicken mince. It's very lean, there's less fat in it, it's a little bit healthier, so give it a go. All right?
Yeah.
All right. So just scoop that out. Can you see that all right, Emily?
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. Cut into it. Okay. That'll do. Right. Okay, so what I'm going to do, can you just mash that up with your spoon a bit? And then I've got a clove of garlic. I'm just going to crush that and then just run my knife through it. You could use a garlic crusher if you wanted to, no problem. Right, watch your hands, Poppy. There we go, let's pop that in. Now, a red onion. It's really important on the red onion we cut this really, really fine, because it's like got a 15-minute cook time, so it's not long at all. And normally Poppy would chop these, but the last time we did it, it made her cry, so she's made me promise I won't make her do it, but she can do it. You gonna do the other half? It's not a crier?
No thanks.
Okay.
You can do it.
So we're just gonna chop as finely as possible.
I'll make it.
Just take your time. You can actually grate them as well. But you've got to make sure you try and get rid of some of the moisture, because when you grate them, they become sort of very wet almost. Right, let's get rid of that. Okay, so we've got that mixed together. Good. It's all mushy, right. So what the sweet potato does, it kind of gives you a bit of texture, you get a bit of mouthfeel, and it's also really good for you. Sweet potatoes are part of your fibre day as well, so we're going to try and get them in where we can. So slice the red onion up, and then just, if you've got a white onion, that's fine, but I would use a lot less because a white onion is much stronger. How are we doing, Emily? Are we okay?
Yeah, good.
Have we got some people watching?
Yeah, we've got 20 people watching.
Good.
And people on YouTube.
Yeah. So, right, there we go. So I'm just going to run my knife through there a little bit more, just to get the onion just a little bit finer. As fine as we can is good. Okay, right, we ready?
Yeah.
So in with our onion.
So mix it in.
Yeah, you mix that in. There we go, I think that's enough. It's quite a big onion, that one, so I'm just going to move this bit over here. Just give my hands a quick wash.
It's made me cry.
Are you crying? You'll be alright. So, in with our minced chicken. Let's just pop that straight in. And then just start mixing that together. And then just a couple more ingredients. So, Parmesan cheese. parsley, and some wholemeal breadcrumbs. Now, I've put wholemeal breadcrumbs in because it's just another fibre hit, okay? So I'm just going to grate parmesan in. This is almost acting like a seasoning, okay? Parmesan's got a real sort of savoury depth of flavour. Right, there we go. So let's pop that on there. Now I've got some parsley, full of vitamin C parsley, really good for you. Just chop, roll it up into a bowl, okay? And then just run your knife through, nice and fine. Take your time. When you're chopping, it's not an up and down motion, it's a rolling motion. So you just take the knife, this is a tipless knife, but it doesn't matter, it still works exactly how I want it. We're just rolling through the herbs, nice and gently, so as not to bruise them and let them go bitter. A nice sharp knife, keep your fingers up and away, and there we go. Right, you ready?
Yeah.
So in with our parsley. Watch out. There we go. Now I'm going to crack an egg into there as well, which will help sort of loosen the mixture, but it will also kind of help it bind as well as it's cooking. We've got our wholemeal breadcrumbs, so we'll pop those in as well, and that will kind of just absorb moisture and it will just bring everything together. Okay, we are good?
Yeah.
Right, so we're going to make some meatballs next. I'm going to turn my water up for my pasta as well. So up on full blast. Let's get it boiling, let's get it ready to cook. Good cooking is all about being in control, okay? It's about being prepared, having everything to hand, and being in control. If you're in control, you're going to be a much better cook. We good?
Yeah.
That looks really good, that looks perfect. Right, so what I'm going to do is I've got an ice cream scoop here, and I've got a bowl of water. And I'm just going to show you a really simple, easy way to make meatballs. Can we see this okay, Emily?
Yeah.
Yeah? So, cold water, ice cream scoop in. Okay, and then we've got a scoop of meatball there. Put your hand in the water and then pop that on. And with a wet hand, it's much easier to shape these, yeah? Do you want to scoop them? But make sure every time you scoop them, you've dipped it in the water first. Brilliant, well done. That's it. Right, you scoop it and I'll shape. Okay, so use the side of the bowl, that's it. And then you get an approximate size. Now, we tested this recipe out last week, and I'll tell you what, this recipe also makes fantastic burgers. Really, really good. So if meatballs aren't your thing, and you fancy something a bit different, we actually made bagel burgers last week. So this exact mixture, and we just made them into burgers, baked them in the oven, and then served them in a bagel with a bit of sun-dried tomato paste, some rocket, and some lemon juice. Delicious. Maybe one more for the adults, that one. A little bit more. Okay, I'm just going to wet my hands again. So I've made 6 there. Well, I haven't. We have, haven't we? Okay, brilliant. Right, so you can see just how easy they shape when you've got wet hands. So you don't end up in a massive big mess. Okay, so I think what we'll do, Pops, is we'll make 12. And then we'll put the rest to one side for now, so that we can keep it moving and we can show you how this whole dish can come together. You need to just drop that in the water a little bit more, if you can. One more dip. And then that helps it come straight off the ice cream scoop, yeah? That's it. So dip.
One more.
One more, just for today. Normally I would make them all, but we're going to keep things moving. Right.
Should I take this away?
Yeah, that could go away, and then just wash your hands in that hot soapy water, because we've been handling raw chicken. That's going straight in the oven, 180 degrees, and they'll be ready in about 15 minutes. Okay, so I'm just going to rinse my hands off in here. How are we looking? We good?
Yeah.
Right, that can carefully go away over there. Lovely. We'll keep that one here. Quick wipe down. Keep nice and tidy.
Hey, can we slow it down a little bit so people can catch up?
Oh yeah, of course. Well, I can slow down, I can have a cup of coffee. No problem. My helper's too good, you see. Aren't you? Right. Is everyone... Who's asking me to slow down?
Somebody's just come and say they're getting left behind.
That's alright, don't worry. We'll keep you Who is it?
Somebody called Harriet Simpson.
Okay, right. Harriet, we will slow right down, don't worry, chill out. It'll be fine. So what we're cooking wholemeal. I want to talk to you about wholemeal pasta, okay? So this is a wholemeal linguine, so very similar to spaghetti. Now, wholemeal is full of fibre, okay? Now fibre is king, right? The more fibre that you can get into your diet, the more nutrients your body will absorb. You know when you're eating like your 5 a day, you're trying to get all the fruit in, yeah? If you're doing really well, you know, you're eating 5 portions of fruit and veg a day, what you do need to make sure you do is get the fibre in wherever you can. So if you can swap out, you know, to wholemeal pasta a couple of times a week, eat wholemeal bread, brown rice, you know, get as much fibre as you can from your fruit and your veggies as well, it helps your body work so much better and absorb all the goodness that you do from your diet anyway. So wherever you can get a good, easy win and get some extra fibre in, it's a good thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to go for about 350 grams of pasta, which will feed the 4 of us here at home. My kids love pasta. It is definitely your favourite, is it not?
Yeah.
Right, you hold on to that.
It's
Right, so what we're going to do, now everyone's meatballs are in the oven, okay? We're going to put a little bit of salt into our water. Now normally you would make it really, really nice and salty, but you kind of have to watch your salt where you can, okay? But I would urge you to put salt in your water more than salt in your food, okay? So we relied on the salt seasoning of our meatballs using Parmesan because it's got that umami flavour and that kind of sits in a similar place to salt. Right, we're going to drop this pasta in, aren't we? And then it's time to make pesto.
Could you talk a little bit about pre-baking your sweet potatoes, because people are asking that?
Yeah, of course. So the pre-baked sweet potatoes, so all I did was I took the sweet potatoes and put them straight in the oven on a tray with nothing else, okay? Absolutely nothing. Stick them in at 160 degrees for about 30 to 40 minutes. It very much depends on the size of sweet potato. Just hold on to that, Pops. If you've got a massive sweet potato, it's going to take much longer to cook. You can cut it in half. But if you've got smaller ones, it'll take less time. But they're very easy to tell if they're ready because they go really soft and squidgy. Once they're soft and squidgy, whip them out of the oven, cut them open and let all the steam out. And that's it. That's baked sweet potato. If you've made too much, it makes a fantastic dip. You can add a bit of, for the adults maybe, you could add a little bit of harissa, which is like a Moroccan spice, a bit of lemon juice, a bit of garlic, a bit of olive oil. You make this really cool dip, which is lovely. You can add walnuts to it. You can make a really lovely pesto dip with it. It's great for kind of chucking together with feta and some mint and some chili and some lime. You can make another nice dip out of it. So there's quite a lot of different things you can do with sweet potatoes. So don't be afraid to buy a bag and chuck them all in. Make this recipe. You can also make the burgers. They could go in the freezer. You can make double the amount of meatballs you need and not cook half of them, because once they're made, and then it's easy to bring them out the night before you want them, leave them in the fridge, and then they're ready to go. Right, so we're going to pop our pasta in. Now, what we need to do is twist the pasta like that and carefully just drop it into the pan. And what happens is it just all opens out and it lets all the water around it and it just lets it cook. So while that's cooking, I think that normally pasta like this will take 9 minutes to cook. But wholemeal takes just that little bit longer. So I'm reckoning by the time we get to 10 minutes, this one's going to be trying it to make sure it's cooked. And that will give us enough time to make our pesto. Okay? Should we make some pesto?
Yeah. Do we need
Okay, pestle and mortar. This is the most fantastic size. It is really big and heavy. Those little ones that are about that big just don't work for me. You need a big one. You need it to be big and heavy, and if you can't lift it with 2 hands, it's not big enough. Okay, but this one is perfect. Right, let's have the garlic in there. Piece of garlic in there, hiding.
Yeah.
That's it, pop that in.
Grate it.
No, just pop it straight in, we're gonna smash it. All right, a little bit of salt, which works as an abrasive, okay? Pine nuts, beautiful, creamy. When they're crushed, they're really creamy. If you can't get hold of pine nuts, use cashew nuts. But don't use salted ones, because otherwise it'll end up being too salty. You can also use walnuts as well for this. They kind of go creamy as well. You can also use almonds, but they need to be blanched, so no skins on there. So don't let it be a reason to not make this if you haven't got pine nuts. Can you put half of those in for me? Yeah? Can you see this okay, Emily?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good. Do you want the chopping board out of the way, or are you okay?
Yeah.
You want it out of the way. She tends to know what she wants. Just doesn't always tell me. Right, Poppy, do you want to start smashing that? So, we good there?
Yeah.
All right, we'll swap roles. So, pound it, like smash it. That's it. That's it. Good. Brilliant. So what's going to happen is the garlic's going to crush. Now, if you haven't got a pestle and mortar, chuck it all in a food processor, blitz it all up, and have a little taste. Okay? It's really important when you make fresh pesto that you taste it and you make it right for you. You might like it with more cheese. You might like less nuts. You might like more garlic. There's very much. Take all these ingredients, make it your own, make it the way you want to make it. If you want to leave something out, that's up to you, it's not a problem. But I'm going to show you kind of a base recipe. Once you've made fresh pesto, you will not go back, I promise you. Okay, we good?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're pounding the dough. So once the garlic's really pounded, then, do you want to just sort of lean it and show? Is that all right, Emily? Can you see that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just starting to break up. The nuts will go kind of creamy, okay? So I'm going to start adding some extra virgin olive oil now, and it'll start to come together as a paste. No, you carry on. That's it. So work that oil in now, roll it around the bowl. That's it. This is like your first solid meal you ever had was fresh pesto. You sat there and you ate your mum's fresh pesto in a restaurant in Italy. Sucked all the pesto off the pasta and spat the pasta around. Nothing's changed. Right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grate the Parmesan cheese ready to go in for you. Oh no, I'm going to eat that. Now, if you can't get Parmesan, what I would go for is like a really sort of sharp cheddar, okay? You want that kind of tanginess. You don't want a creaminess because you've already got that. Right, you going in? You doing it? Now, when you're popping all this into a food processor, it's really easy. You just whack it all in, blend it all up and done. But I quite like making it by hand. I quite like the process. So, fresh basil, absolutely. Just the most amazing smelling herb there is, in my opinion. Have you just eaten some Parmesan cheese?
No.
You have. I thought you didn't like cheese.
I like this one.
You like that spaghetti cheese, don't you? It's called. So.
Chop it towards this corner of the chopping board so we can see it.
Yeah, you want it there.
Perfect.
Okay, no problem at all. Now, if you've got the time, what you can do is you could just pop the leaves in here and then keep pounding and pounding away until it all comes. But what I find is that if you actually cut the basil and chop it up a little bit to begin with, it gives you a head start. And you've got your knife out anyway, so you might as well. Now when you're chopping, just sort of group the basil together and use the edge of your knife. Use the sharpness of your knife to cut through the basil. Don't just bruise it by just beating it like up and down. You've got to be quite gentle and push through like that. Okay? Do you see how it's cutting rather than chopping? You can hear it, can't you?
Yeah.
That's how you preserve a really fresh herb. Things like mint, things like basil, parsley, coriander, those ones need treating really gently. Do you want some more oil in there? You need some, don't you? That's looking really good. Do you want to show the camera, that one there, how sort of, yeah? Can you do it? That's it. See that all right?
Yeah.
So you can kind of see that the cheese, the garlic, the nuts and the oil have just blended to quite a thick paste there. So we're just going to let it down with a little bit more olive oil, okay? There we go. And I'm going to chop these. So should we add a little bit of this basil in? Is everyone keeping up all right?
So,
Yeah?
and people just say that they've used dried parsley instead of fresh.
Absolutely use parsley dried is okay. There are some dried herbs that I would just throw in the bin. Dried basil, one of them, bin it. It is just pointless. Fresh is best, and that's where you get the true flavour. You can also make pesto from mint. You can make pesto out of just walnuts and no herbs if you want to. They're real classics. You can also make a sun-dried tomato pesto instead of adding the basil. And you can use the oil that they're preserved in the jar. So you can kind of just open the jar, whack it in, add in the garlic, the nuts and the cheese, whiz it all up. I like to add a touch of vinegar to mine just to get a bit of balance. And you've got sun-dried tomato pesto like that. You can also, you can also add things like sage. That's a really, really delicious herb. And that kind of works like roast pork with sage pesto is delicious. So I'm just going to cut the rest of these herbs up, just nice and gentle. Pops is just bringing the pasta together and the pesto. Let's just add a little bit more. Just nice, take your time, add it. Just keep working that together.
You can have a go.
Yeah, you want me to have a go? You add the basil when I say, just a little bit at a time. Okay. Emily's just switched the battery over. She's had a little heart attack. She's okay now. Okay, pop those in back.
All of them.
Yeah, let's go. So we're just going to mix that together. Now, can you just wipe that worktop for me? That chopping board, because I like a clean chopping board. Okay, lovely. Smells amazing, doesn't it? Fresh basil for me is probably one of the most amazing smells in the kitchen. Once I start making this, and I think once you've learned to make fresh pesto, you will learn to love it. It's an easy job to do, you know. Grow your own basil this summer and you'll be able to preserve it. Now, if you want it, a little tip for you, if you want it to keep longer, don't add the cheese. Make it all without the cheese, put it into a preserving jar, and then pop it into the fridge. And when you want it, bring it out, mix it through your pasta and add the Parmesan cheese then. Because it's the Parmesan cheese that can kind of start to ferment if you're keeping it. But in our house, we tend to make small batches often, rather than make it and it just sits there. And what I can also do is, I've got some of the pine nuts left. We're just going to stir those in, so we've got a bit of texture, okay? A little bit of oil in there for me, Pops.
Pete, we've just got somebody who's just catching up. How long will leave the meatballs in the oven for?
The meatballs in the oven are going to be about 15 minutes. The best way to check is when they're cooked. Go on, in you go. They'll be firm to the touch, okay? And what I would suggest you do is you make sure, and cut one open, make sure they're cooked. Okay, it's really important with chicken that it's cooked. If you have a thermometer, they need to be 75 degrees or above. Okay? Right, that's your pesto done. Right, we're going to have a little look at these meatballs. They smell good to me. Right. Yeah, right. So mine are cooked. Okay? So let's pop that on there. You're eating pine nuts, are you? Good call. Right. So I've got a nice big shallow pan on here getting warm. And all I'm going to do is take the meatballs. I'll just grab a few. Alright, and they are firm to the touch. So can you see those, Emily?
Yeah.
They are nice and firm, which to me says they're cooked. But what we're going to do is just pop them into our pan. You should hear a nice sizzle. Can you just put a little drizzle of olive oil in there, Poppy, so they don't stick? Thank you. In you go. That's it. Good drizzle. And then if you could grab a set of tongs from behind me there. Okay. Just put that lid on, that will trap the heat in. Okay? So let's have a little look. Lift me a piece out.
I thought you were.
No, you got wrong, didn't you? Right, there we go. Go on.
No.
Have a test. See if it's cooked. You happy? Is it cooked?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, I'm just going to turn that down now. So, what we're now going to do, and this is one of the little secrets you get when you're in Italy. This is how they do it, okay? In this pan here, and in fact, let me show you. It's probably more important. So if I bring this pan over here, Emily,
Yeah.
can you see into that pan if I tilt it this way?
Yeah.
So, can you see that little white foam there?
Just lift your lid up a little bit just so we can see it.
Can you see that? It's like a white kind of foaminess, yeah? If I do that there. Which one are you on?
Yeah.
Yeah, you see how starchy that water is? That's creaminess and that's starch, okay? You can pop the camera down now, Emily, don't worry. Freaked her out a bit there. Take that water from your pasta and add it to your meatballs, okay? Take another ladle and just submerge the ladle in. And that's going to help make a sauce. Right, Poppy, can you grab a spoon? We need to add some pesto. How are we doing for time, Emily?
Just before 5:30.
Oh, right, so we're about right. You'd think I planned it. Okay, so we've got some of our cooking liquid there. Let's switch the hob off. Just pop it onto there. I want three spoons straight into there. Okay? You see that all right, Emily?
Yeah.
Good. Right, in it goes. Beautiful. That'll do for the minute. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to lift our pasta and we're going to pop that into the pan. We're not going to run it through a colander because I kind of want the starchiness from it. Okay. So take your time. Somebody else can set the table now. Do you want to have a go? Here, you have a go. Let's have a little tidy up. Something's beeping at me. There we go. Alright, is that everything? Are we good? That'll do. That'll do for now.
Okay.
So, what we're going to do is we're going to give this a really good, that can just go over there now, just pop that down there. What we can do is we can give this a really good stir, and in fact, if we pop the lid on, okay, give it a bigger stir, okay, and that'll help the pesto mix a little bit. Oh, it's not amazing. Right, let's just grab a plastic spoon, because I don't want to damage the non-stick pans. And then I'm just going to stir it round, and there you go. You can start to see the pesto coming through. You're busy eating, aren't you? You haven't waited.
I'm hungry.
So there we go. Right, and the way I like to finish this, bit of a scattering of pine nuts
That's left.
that are left. Some parmesan just to finish off. There we go. And that is how to make fresh pesto. Can you see that all right, Emily? To move it, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah? See that okay?
Yeah.
So that is how to make chicken meatballs with sweet potato and garlic, yeah? Fresh pesto and wholemeal spaghetti. Really, really easy. If you want the full recipe and to be able to cook it at your own time, go to masterclass.co and you'll find the recipe there. And make sure you go to the Facebook page and like that. We will be back on Wednesday, same time, same place, and we're going to make a rainbow risotto. So that is going to be really, really good. We will make that real time, so we'll do it all together at 5 o'clock. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. We've had a good time, haven't we? We like cooking in here. And what we've made, we're going to go and eat right now.